Um, as a filmmaker, as a performer, do you have a favorite? And you might not be able to answer this, but do you have a favorite or most rewarding experience, either in front of or behind the camera?
Yeah, the only way for me to answer that really is to say that my favorite genre is employment.
Yeah.
So, I can act, I can dance, I can sing, whatever you want me to do. Hey, I don't juggle or tap dance though, And so it's all rewarding. I mean, come on, man. I mean, especially at this point in my life, I've been a professional actor for 40 years, and my dream as a teenager was I just want a career in this business, and it just, I don't know, it just keeps giving. I literally, I told you about the little independent that I did with Tom Muska. I literally came here from Oklahoma City, where I was making another lovely little film. Sundance director Vincent Grashaw and my buddy Irene Bedard, Nick Stahl. I mean, it's an amazing film, and we'll probably, hopefully, see that in film festivals at the end of the year. But once again, just the kind of character that I hadn't really done yet. So it's even at this point in my life, I'm being challenged. But I look for those things. I don't look for the safe. I don't look for repeating myself.
Now I'm going to jump forward a few years. One of your recent films that you were in that came out within the last year or so was Easter Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And you had a very fun part playing an exaggerated or heightened.
I had to do a lot of studying. It took a lot of research. I had to sort of channel the character. I was playing Lou Diamond Phillips. If you hadn't seen Easter Sunday with Joe Coy, I play myself, which in a very heightened version of. But that's, strangely enough, that's the 4th time I've played myself. So he's a popular character. He's like Freddy Krueger,
How much fun is that to find new ways to make an exaggerated or a heightened version of yourself?
They always, whenever they come at me with, I played myself on Cougar Town, on You're the Worst, and they always give me some ridiculous lines that are just so hilarious. Also, there's this short, not for the shy or bashful, it's pretty raunchy, called Lucy in the Sky with Diamond, where I play myself, and I give a young man some sexual advice, which is, like I said, not for the faint-hearted, but it's pretty damn funny. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna jump back now. Back in aside from La Bamba and Stand and Deliver, probably from that period, one of the most well-known roles is, of course, in Young Guns.
Yeah.
So, and in addition to yourself, you have an amazing supporting cast around with you as well too. Can you talk a little bit about becoming involved with that and working with such incredible actors?
Yeah, there's so much about that film, and I literally was in the green room with Kiefer. So what Kiefer and I have done, 5, 6 projects together. It's like we're joined at the hip or something. But my first 3 films in Hollywood: La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, and Young Guns, all in a row. Yeah. So by the time we get to Young Guns, La Bamba had come out, but Stand and Deliver had not yet. And I get the script, and it's a Western, and I'm from Texas, and my dad raised me on Westerns. I actually just last year got inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame, the Western Heritage Museum. Yeah. As I said to them in the opening of my speech, it's like it's a real honor to be asked to join the Cowboy Hall of Fame, but I don't know if you guys know I usually play the Indian. Yeah. But so I get this script. And the funny thing is, literally like 2 weeks before, I was at the Beverly Center going to a movie. I was going in. Kiefer was coming out. I was like, oh, my God, hi, how are you? So nice to meet you. We got to do a movie, And then 2 weeks later, I get this script, and Kiefer's attached already. And somebody else is attached to play Billy the Kid. Sean Penn. I know. Weird, huh? Sean couldn't do it because he was in jail for punching a photographer. So they had to recast that role. So I read the script, and it's fantastic. John Fusco's still a friend to this day, the writer-producer. And so now I have this meeting at Fox. So with the auditions, usually, you get, okay, here's the script and here are the sides and here's what you're going to, audition with. They don't tell me what to audition with. So, I picked the White Sands monologue and like one other scene. And I go, okay, I'll see if they'll let me do this. So I go to the meeting at 20th Century Fox, and I'm sitting there, and there's Chris Kane, the director, John Fusco, writer, producer, Joe Roth, producer, Paul Schiff, producer, and they're all sitting there, and we have a lovely, lovely conversation for about 20 minutes. And there comes a pause in the conversation, and I think, okay, all right, here we go. I said, I'm so sorry, they didn't tell me what sides to memorize, but I prepared a couple of scenes for you if you'd like. And Chris Kane kind of smiles at me, and he looks down the table at Joe, and Joe kind of smiles back at him, and they look at, John Fusco, and everybody's grinning, and I don't know why. And Chris looks at me, and he kind of leans forward, and he goes, Lou, the part is yours if you want it. And I was like, well, yeah, okay. Just turned into Tom Hanks just there. I was running.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
But, to add on to that, my first day on that film set, and by the way, the trailer is the first thing we shot. But there I am with Kiefer and Emilio and Charlie and, Dermot, and that was one of those moments where I go, okay, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I am the ethnic member of the Brat Pack.
Now, Young Guns came out at a time when Westerns were kind of not really all that popular for a period anymore, and it blew everyone away when it came out. What was that like for you as a member of the cast, seeing what the reaction was to the film?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long shot, man, because the Westerns did. Yeah. They say that every 10 years. And the funny thing is, the critics gave us such a hard time. Oh, it's the Brat Pack Western. But then it became a big hit, and it spawned a sequel. And now they look back and they go, oh, those two movies, not only were they great, they're classics. And without those two films, you would not have seen Silverado, you would not have seen Unforgiven, you would not have seen a spate of successful Westerns that came after us. So they finally had to pay some respect. Although it is certainly one of my favorite bad reviews of me that I've ever read. And it said, Phillips has given up the native diet of his tribe and has taken up chewing scenery instead.
Oh, wow.
It's great. It means nothing to me!
Now, you've done quite a bit of television in addition to the films, both in front of and behind the camera. What has been some of your most memorable moments doing television?
Yeah, I mean, the guest spots are always fun because at this point in my life, and for like the last 10 years, whenever I have an opportunity to work with people I like, or friends or things like that, it's always wonderful to pop in. Donnie Wahlberg's a buddy, and they asked me to do Blue Bloods. I was like, well, yeah, okay, sure. I was supposed to direct one, but then Prodigal Son happened. Loved Prodigal Son. So sad it got canceled. Loved Longmire. I've had the really good fortune of playing unique and interesting characters, and to be able to do them for an extended period of time. But interestingly enough, I think something like Stargate Universe or Wolf Lake. These were great shows, and people look back at them and they love them, and I still can't understand why either one of those got canceled early, So sadly enough, I've come to learn that it's not always about the quality, of what you're doing. Our numbers on Prodigal Son were as good as anything that's on their network right now. I think they were just blown away by how much it costs to make a television show during COVID. We added an extra $20 million, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're $20 million over budget." It's like, yeah, you wanted a show during COVID. That's what it costs. And it's like that wasn't the producer's fault. You wanted a show, you wanted 18 episodes, and they gave it to you. It didn't cost any more than it did last season.
Yeah, And I wonder also too, like with Stargate Universe, if part of the reason why that got canceled, because they did that weird split season, and then like they bumped around the time.
I have theories about that. I mean, first of all, it was a departure for the Stargate fans.
Yeah.
It was less campy. It was darker. It was grittier. Some loved it. Some did not. Although when we got canceled, everybody loved it. It's like, whoa, no! I wanted to complain about that show. You know. But I think it had gotten to, there was brand new management at sci-fi, at sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I think because the producers, Brad and Rob and all those guys had such a successful run, the producers were threatened by that and really felt like they had to put them in their place. Yeah. The studio, that is. Wow. So because those guys had carte blanche for such a long time because they had produced so many hits. Yeah. You know.
If it had not been canceled, had there been any talk about you directing any episodes of that in the future?
You know what? It was brought up a time or two. But I can say that, and interestingly enough, because they put me front and center with everybody else, I was only a recurring character. Yeah. You know, they were going to move me to regular in the third season, and Telford was, you know, you realize that he had been brainwashed and all that stuff, and was really a good guy and was going to be instrumental in trying to get everybody back to earth.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and open up some audience questions. So if you have a question, raise your hand up nice and high. We'll go with you right there. Yes, you miss? Yeah.
Thank you. Let me preface that by saying that Melanie should have been nominated. She really should have been nominated for that. She was brilliant. James is James. How many kids do we have in the audience? Because that's an adult film, and there's some stories. I don't know who thought of me, but they thought of me for that 2-scene role. And if you'll notice, I'm not credited. It's an uncredited cameo. And playing a guy who is a flaming gay man who owns the club, and who turns out to be very violent and very brutal. You know, once again, I haven't done that. Let's give that a shot. You know, it was amazing. You know, Larry Clark is a madman. He's out of his mind. But all of that contributed to, I think, the craziness of that film. I'm proud of the work, and like I said, I think Melanie was amazing, as was the entire cast. You know, by the Vincent Kartheiser before Mad Men. So you know. Thank you. Yeah, and I try to do brave stuff. You know, I think people know by now that that's not Lou. And you know, I tell young acting students all the time, it's like, don't judge your characters. Don't judge your characters. Don't hold them at arm's length. It's your job to, no matter who they are, and I played Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, as well. Your job is to understand why they do what they do, get into their head, be honest, and play that, and not apologize to the audience. You know, convince them that you are that role. That's your job. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Another question out there? We got one right over there. We'll go with you next.
It's all about love, baby. Trace Buster Buster. Okay, so yeah, first of all, let me say, again, a movie so ahead of its time they didn't know what the hell to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It was a Hong Kong action film before Crouching Tiger, you know? It was a hip-hop black comedy. I mean, literally, we opened up at #1, and the studio didn't have any more money to promote it after that. I got asked to go to the UK. I got asked to go to Australia. So, well, we don't have any more money. And it's like, we opened up at #1, you idiots. You had no idea what you had, you know? And the funny thing is that I was doing The King and I on Broadway at the time. And thank you very much. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Kirk Wong and Terrence Chang, the director and the producer, came to see me in that, and I think that's why I got the gig, because they wanted Cisco to be, larger than life. And every single day, I mean, Kirk is hilarious. Those action sequences, those were not on the page. That guy, the mind on him is amazing. And I think one of the reasons they hired me is because, as a theater actor, they knew that I could improv and do stuff. And literally, every single morning, Kirk's English is terrible. Like, Lou, you'll be funny today. I was like, well, Kirk, I'm killing people. Yeah, I know, you'll be funny. And he just, he'd let me go. And then I would do some stuff, and I could hear him from the monitor. No, too much. Come back.
And that's another film where you had a great cast.
Ridiculous cast.
You had Mark Wahlberg, you had Avery Brooks.
Christina Applegate. Elliot Gould threw up on me. I mean, wow. That's another one of those I've arrived moments.
So I just got called because I heard it was getting a little boring up here and they wanted some star power. So I showed up. Now, today's Saturday, but what also is today is a certain Mr. Lou Diamond Phillips' birthday. So all together now, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Louie.
Happy birthday to you.
It's a butt cake. No, I'm sorry, the end. I forgot to keep it in the end.
All right, I'm going to leave you back to the boredom.
I had the opportunity, first of all, to be at these cons with Jason and Kiefer. It's fantastic. But Jason and I did a lovely little Western called the Big Kill, which is fun. It's not the Big Hit. This one's called Big Kill. I guess I like titles with big in it. I don't know.
Cool. Let's go with you right here.
This goes into the category of don't believe everything you hear, only because they told me certain things and I believed them. I was married at the time to Julie Cypher, and she was an assistant director on that film, and they were shooting like up in Palmdale or something. So I went up to visit, and they were shooting on a Saturday, and like the producer, she didn't tell them that she was married to me. And they went, oh my God, hey, would you be a demon? Would you just one shot? Would you be a demon? And I was like, well, make sure you're unrecognizable. And the check's in the mail. Yeah, so I am in that movie. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Right there in the front.
First of all, admire your career.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I've grown up watching you, and you mentioned several things just, talking right now. This is my daughter, Alina.
Yay.
She is taking acting classes.
Good.
She wants to be an actor.
Good.
And there's several things.
All right,
and
first
I'm
of all,
embarrassing her to death.
all right,
right
here's your first lesson. Don't be embarrassed, baby. Own it. Flaunt it. You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're gorgeous. Well, you're doing it. I often tell, young people this. It's like, acting, directing, writing, dancing, all of it. They're action verbs. You have to do it, okay? You have to follow that dream. You have to make that dream true. And I also say, don't get caught up in the American Idol mentality where, or TikTok or whatever the hell it is, where you can get famous overnight by doing something stupid, okay? The word celebrity, thanks. The word celebrity used to mean we celebrated you. We celebrated you because you were talented, because you were good, because you were exceptional, at whatever it is that you do, rocket science or acting, you know? And I cannot encourage you enough to recognize it as an art and a craft, and that it needs to be learned and practiced and respected. And if you do that, then you will have the discipline and the fundamentals to turn it into a career. And maybe get famous and rich.
Thank you.
So good luck.
Thank you.
Hope to see you on set sometime.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you.
All right, yeah, right here in the front.
Did you do any of your own singing in La Bamba?
I did not. Now, here's the thing. They cast me on the Friday before rehearsal started on Monday. Okay? I had a week to learn, and all the tracks were already recorded. Los Lobos had recorded everything. Everybody had recorded everything. In some ways, I think that the soundtrack is what drove the film. I think they'd made the soundtrack deal before anything else, because Taylor Hackford had done a lot of films like that. And so there really never was any question, because that's how they got Los Lobos. It's like, well, no, you guys are covering all the songs. But after that, you know, I ended up with my band, the Pipefitters. You know, we toured, you know, the country. Never recorded an album, sadly enough. But I sang on Broadway. I did the national tour of Camelot as King Arthur singing. Just did Miss Saigon last summer in Fort Worth. Sang on the Ranch. That is my voice. A couple of Disney things I sing in Elena of Avalor and also Firebuds. And was on Masked Singer last year. So I actually do sing. Yeah.
Right there, with your hand up. Yeah, if you want to stand up. Yeah.
I just want to know, like, you've done a lot of movies, and then you did Longmire, which is a TV series. How do you compare doing movies versus TV series? What's your experience with that?
It's a very good question. I mean, it depends on the movie, quite honestly. You know, the one that I just finished, I mean, little independent films, you're still shooting 5-6 pages a day, whatever. Television, man, it's gotten really, really competitive with films. You know, I mean, it's amazing because each episode you're going to be spending, I think the minimum I've ever spent on an episode is $3 or $4 million. Some of them are $5 and $6 million. I mean, Fear the Walking Dead that I directed, $6 million budget every episode for an hour's worth of television. That's like 3 times the amount of money I ever had to do an independent film, you know? So the biggest difference, the only difference really, is time. In television, you're shooting 5 to 6 pages a day. On certain films, I mean, for Courage Under Fire, for instance, which, you know, I love that film, really, really proud of that film. You know, we're shooting 2 pages a day, you know? And so it's very meticulous, and the shots get bigger, and the effects get bigger, and everything else. I've not been on a Marvel movie, but I imagine that's, you know, they spend a lot of money. Yeah. I would imagine catering's better, too.
Well, I want to thank you for being here this weekend and for taking part in this Q&A. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. So, happy birthday once again. And ladies and gentlemen, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Thank you to all of you guys. Because of people like you, I get to do what I still do. So God bless you and thank you.